Good morning. It's wonderful to see you all in place and to welcome those in cyberspace. The crocuses are blooming. May that be so in our being. The blue skies are inviting. May that be so in our spirit. The sun's warmth is loving. May that be so in our hearts. Come, settle into this time. Bring the strength and resilience and being and peace into yourselves. The spirit, the welcome, the love. It's good to be together. Let's sing together hymn number 1007. What's the title of it again? It's There's a River Flowing in My Soul. And please rise as you are able, and please keep your masks on while we sing.
We're so glad that you've chosen to be with us here this morning or to join us virtually. However your journey, whomever you love, and whatever your heritage, you are welcome here. Your presence here on Sunday morning enriches worship for everyone. This sanctuary is made holy by your presence. If you're joining us for the first time, special welcome. You will find information about First Parish in your pew. One of the greeters, who is Dottie, back there, I think, back there, will help out. Happy to answer any questions, and any of us would be happy to walk you out to social hour, which is going to be right here on the green after the service. The work of our faith is done, living our faith is done both in and out of worship, so I call your attention to any printed announcements that are in the order of worship. You can also see them all online in the email that you should have received this week. There's a few that I just wanted to call your attention to. First of all, from the Caring Committee. So today and next Sunday, there will be a table set up during social hour to collect items and financial contributions for the care packages that are being sent to our college-aged youth. So please stop by and help out with that effort. Also, the UU Urban Ministries Lunch with an Artist series takes place this Wednesday on the 30th. It's a virtual lunchtime meeting this week featuring Roxbury artist Hakeem Rakib. It's an opportunity to amplify the work of a local artist by getting a virtual gallery tour and learning about their creative process. So there's a link in the email that you received this week. Check it out. Lastly, from the stewardship team, the First Parish and stewardship team are so grateful to those of you who've made a financial pledge to our next church year. Knowing what our pledge income will be is essential to the Finance Committee as they develop a responsible budget for next year. If you haven't pledged yet, it's not too late. There's pledge forms in the front with Dottie so that you can fill them out, put them in an envelope, and there's a gray box outside of the church office, or give them to Dottie. She will gladly receive them. Your support at any level is greatly appreciated. And lastly, I just want to thank some of our participants in the service today. We have our amazing musicians, G. Jor Emmerman and Hazel Royer from Berkeley. Welcome. And again, thanks to Sophie and Colin, who are working as our technicians today. Now let's take a few minutes to greet one another and extend a warm welcome to old friends and new. Please stay in your pews, but as we enter into worship, also please take a moment to silence your cell phones. And if you're on Zoom, please open your video so you can say hi to everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Chris.
Howdy.
I see you.
I see you.
I can't see where we are. Morning, everyone. Good
Morning.
Morning.
Hi, everyone.
And
Hey,
Morning,
Walt.
Walt.
Hey, Ann. Hey, India.
Hi, how you doing, everyone?
Hey, Paul.
Hello.
It's like an advent calendar.
That's funny. Good
Play
to
with
see
you, Parish.
everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat.
How are you, Carl?
Good. Guess we're jumping back, so. Hey, we'll
Okay.
do a Zoom call. I don't know, Joan or I will do a Zoom call, but
When we can let go of
if
our
you guys,
worries,
if people want to hang around,
thoughts,
so
our
we'll be back. See you,
hopes.
bye.
When we can choose to connect with ourselves, when we can choose to connect with the divine, when we can choose to just be present. Please join me in saying our call to worship. Come, let us gather. We gather to celebrate the sacred within and among us. We come to seek spiritual growth and understanding. We strive to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Together, we work to build a world with justice and compassion. Come, let us gather together.
Thank you. So this is a stone soup story that exists in many cultures, and the version that I'm telling was modified, was adapted and modified by a parishioner at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Meriden, my home congregation, and I've tweaked it a little to make it not a play, but a story. And you are invited to participate as much or as little as you are inclined, except for the people with vegetables. You've got to bring those up when I start calling about vegetables. That's a no choice. Oh, yeah, all right. Okay. Once upon a time, in a town not too far from here, it was a sunny and warm afternoon. The townspeople were standing around and enjoying the day. Children were playing. What a great day to be outside. Yeah, I'm going to mow. Hey, we're having a barbecue later. You want to come over? The children were outside too. Hey, let's play next door. I'll get the ball. Then the neighbors noticed a man and two older children walking towards them. Were they from around the block? No. They looked different somehow. Their clothes were different. Their skin was different. The townspeople huddled together and whispered, "They don't look like they're from around here. They look kind of foreign and kind of poor. I wonder what they want. Would they ask for money or food? Were they dangerous? Were they terrorists?" The neighbors quickly hid their belongings and the food for the barbecue and stood together like a wall. The children hid their games and bikes. They didn't want to share either. They heard one of the kids say to the man, "Papa, this looks like a great neighborhood. Do you think we could move here?" The daughter said, "Yes, there are lots of kids." And happily, there are lots of kids. "It looks like a nice place." "We'll see," the father said. "Do you think we could get something to eat soon?" "Yes, I'm hungry. We've been walking for a long time." When the neighbors heard this, they felt even more nervous. The strangers were hungry, and they were talking about moving here. The neighbors tried to hurry them away. "Hello, are you going somewhere? Do you need directions?" "Hello, buenos dias. No, we're just out walking. Well, actually, we're looking for a new home." "Unfortunately, there aren't any empty houses around here." "That's too bad," the father said. "This looks like a nice neighborhood." The son said, "It would be great to play with all the kids." "Do you play soccer?" asked the daughter. "Oh, the children don't get to play much here. They always have too much homework to do, right?" And the kids responded in unison, "Right, too much homework." "The schools must be good," the father said. "Yes, but the classes are so crowded. There's no room for any new students." As the adults talked, the visiting children remembered how hungry they were. The son asked, "Papa, we're sorry to interrupt, but could we get something to eat?" "I'm sorry, we don't have any food right now." The father said, "That's okay. We'll go back to where we're staying and eat there. It's too bad we can't make you some of our special stone soup. You must be hungry." The neighborhood children heard this and asked, "Stone soup? Is it really made from stones?" The father said, "Yes, stones. Look, we brought one with us, all the way from Mexico." Very small stones today. It looks like just like the stones here. If you find some more, Papa can make this special soup for everyone." The children found some more stones and asked how they could make soup. Was it magic? The adults were curious too. "No, it's not magic. We just need a few things. Does anyone have a big pot to cook the soup?" Okay. Thank you. Oh, okay, yeah. "I have a big pot in my garage." No, it's more. "And something to cook the soup on. We're going to imagine a fire pit. We're not building one here." Okay. Alrighty. "And water. That's easy. There's a faucet right there." The neighbors worked together to build the fire and fill the pot with water. The children rinsed the stones and put them in the pot and stirred. Can I have someone come up and be a stirrer for this story? Is there someone who would like to do that? Gracie, you want to go? I saw you first. There were several volunteers. Thank you. So can you take that spoon and start stirring? We have the soup, the spoon, not the slotted one, the other. Yeah, that one. Perfect. And just stir the water and stones that are in the soup, and you'll get some more stuff. Perfect. Okay. It's boiling well, but it needs something more. In Mexico, we'd add onions and garlic and salt and pepper to our stone soup for flavor. Do you have anything like that here? Onions? Who has onions? Okay. Yes, of course. We cook with them too. Does anyone have a few onions to spare? How about, oh, well, we're going to skip garlic. The children put them in the pot and stirred and stirred. Excellent. Yeah, just like that, we're imagining that they're cut up. Have to use imagination here. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you keep going. The children put them in the pot and stirred. That's really good. That smells really good. Now, if only what? Well, the soup tastes great as it is, but it would be much healthier with some fresh vegetables. What kind of vegetables do you have? I have some carrots at home. Carrot people? Okay. Each person thought of something they could share for the soup. So, carrots? Okay, celery? Any other vegetables? All right. Okay. Many people wanted to contribute to the special soup. The children collected vegetables from throughout the neighborhood and put them in the pot. And then the children began to play while the adults stirred the simmering pot and talked. Okay. It's going to be harder to stir with all that in there. Okay. How come you left Mexico? My family's actually from Honduras. We left because it was too violent and there isn't enough work. We waited in Mexico for a year and just got permission to come to the U.S. It's hard with all the new rules. I'm so glad I could keep my children with me. They had been resettled to a temporary apartment, but were looking for a permanent place to live and a friendly neighborhood with a good school. The father hoped to find a job. It must have been hard leaving home. Yes, I miss my grandparents and cousin, but my father says it will be better here. Was it a long trip? We walked forever, and the camps were so crowded. The cooking soup smelled more and more delicious, and everyone was growing hungry. Finally, the father said, "The soup's ready. Does anyone want to try it?" They all did. The neighbors brought out folding tables and chairs, and bowls and spoons, bread and butter, picnic salad and drinks to share, and desserts, lots of desserts. They ate and talked and laughed and shared stories. Many neighbors had suggestions where the father could find an apartment and work. They exchanged phone numbers with him and promised to help. They also had lots of extra furniture and dishes and clothes that they could share. Finally, the father said, "We better go now. Thank you for making us feel so welcome. And thank you for teaching us about stone soup." One of the town children carefully picked a stone out of the pot and said to one of the visiting children, "Don't forget your stone." They said, "Thanks. I hope we end up at your school." Everyone hugged, and the father and children walked up the block. The townspeople cleaned up from the unexpected party. They were embarrassed that they had been suspicious of the strangers at first. But they were glad they had gotten to know the newcomers. They helped the family rent an apartment nearby. The children got to see each other at school every day, and someone knew of a job for the father. It felt good to welcome and help others from that time on. It felt so good to welcome and help others from that time. So from that time on, they reached out to immigrants and other families in need in the town. They were kinder to one another, too. And every year, they took out the big pot, and everyone brought vegetables to celebrate the story of stone soup together. Okay. And now we'll sing the children out. Okay. The children and teachers are going to go to their religious exploration classes.
So there's a phrase that is sometimes used in circles of sharing. that after someone shares, you say, will you breathe with me? And that's a time for people to just take in the story that was just shared, but also to get a sense that there's a presence in the room that is larger than each one of us that we all share. So in this time of stillness, will you breathe with me? Just let yourselves be in a time where you center in, you nourish your body with your breath. And you know that we are breathing with one another, and even with the trees. Will you breathe with me for a bit?
Our reading today comes from Rainier Maria Rilke. All will come again unto its strength, the fields undivided, the waters undammed, the trees towering and the walls built low. And in the valleys, people as strong and varied as the land. And no churches where God is imprisoned and lamented like a trapped and wounded animal. The houses welcoming all who knock, and a sense of boundless offering in all relations and in you and me. No yearning for an afterlife, no looking beyond, no belittling of death, but only longing for what belongs to us and serving earth, lest we remain unused.
And let's try that again. Now we've got some volume. Sorry. This last week, I had the privilege of co-facilitating a Courageous Conversations Toward Racial Justice gathering with Reverend Zanetta Armstrong, who serves the Church of the Holy Spirit in Mattapan Square. We were discussing tools to address the soul-draining aspect of racial justice work. How to be held, supported, and strengthened in the endeavor. What keeps us in this challenging, painstaking work? We shared stories, self-care suggestions, and repeated affirmations that it is good to come together to speak aloud, struggles and hope, burnout and persistence, still somehow staying in, somehow showing up once again. We were talking about faith, not religious necessarily, or even spoken aloud, but inborn, intuitive, abiding faith. That which helps us show up. We rounded the evening watching a performance on YouTube by singer-songwriter India Ari, I Am Light. The lyrics speak of the many ways we are judged and judge ourselves, the many blocks to a sense of ease, to a sense of worthiness in and of life. And the song wraps a cloak of assurance around these negatives with the affirmation, I am light, ending with, I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light. Whatever takes us to our edge, writes Buddhist Sharon Salzberg, to our outer limits, leads us to the heart of life's mystery, and there we find faith. Whatever takes us to our edge, to our outer limits, leads us to the heart of life's mystery, and there we find faith. Thank you for gathering in this faith community this morning. It matters. Coming together, however we are and wherever we are on our journey, summons abiding faith. Much of what we are witnessing and experiencing these days is soul-draining. Can I have an amen, man? And it seems to keep piling up. The brutality of war, the refugee crisis worldwide, displaced, disenfranchised, desperate people fleeing unsafe homelands, the continued willful ignorance regarding the science of climate change, and just this week, the ill-mannered and disdainful questioning of Ketanji Brown Jackson in her confirmation hearings for the Supreme Court. We are being challenged to our edge on a fairly regular basis these days. Why have faith in humanity? Why have faith that wisdom abides within our species, within our hearts, within our homes? Because somehow, we know that what we make of the world isn't all of what the world is. And all of what the world is holds an unseen harmony, regardless of what humans do. Something remains, something deeper and wider that is not just us. It holds the center of existence of which we are a part. An abiding of life that we cannot mar, that we cannot move to our will, an abiding that we can tap into to guide us through. You wouldn't be here if you didn't sense that or hope for that, which means you know it's possible. A core or companioning essence that weaves all being, ever here, ever abiding. Hallowed be thy name, comes the ancient prayer. Let's look at that word hallowed for a minute. Hallowed be thy name. It comes from the same root word that means health, wholeness, wellness. So when we allow for a holy otherness that abides, we're welcoming wholeness. We're summoning the primordial knowing of well-being. And we believe in the possibility of connection. We bring our whole selves to this strangely familiar place of connection, willing to be vulnerable, willing to transform, willing to find the good. It's important to notice that wholeness has nothing to do with perfection. The wholeness has nothing to do with perfection. We must sacrifice our illusion of perfection for wholeness. Perfection is about control and crystallizing life in that moment judged as perfect. Wholeness is about allowing all that is life to resonate and have life, transforming from moment to moment. Life is never set in time, space, or rendering. It is constantly flowing from form to form within a larger presence. We catch a glimpse of this wholeness when we're touched by truth, or allow a joyful abandon, or welcome an authentic kindness, or claim a sense of justice, or encourage a brave, transforming love. Those moments, those experiences are hallowed ground. Hallowed ground can be a physical space, but it can also be a relational space. In fact, what makes a place hallowed, whether physical or relational, is the shared intention, the honoring of a sacred connection. And it's important to have hallowed ground in our lives, to cultivate it, places, memories, connections that we can reach to, that we can summon within. We also need training grounds or setaways in mind or body that help us remember the abiding welcome of life. It's easy to get caught up in all our machinations, all our habits of mind, all our strivings and comparison, all that's going wrong in the world. We need to find and feel pockets of hallowed recognition, glimpses of well-being, hope of strengthening help, expansion of sense of self. Unitarian Universalism promotes the original blessing of life. We are not doomed or depraved when we are born. We are invited to live and thrive in interdependent being. That can sometimes be hard because it has a feeling of neutrality about it. We're not exceptional creatures on this earth. We are a part of it all. We have a place in the harmony. We lose sight of this out of fear and the need to control. We lose sight of this when we feel isolated and unloved. We lose sight of this when we think we're special and deserve this life. None of this is how we thrive. None of this is the beauty of our being. We get lost in our constructed worlds and think that there is no way out. Spiritual writer Mark Nepo relayed a story about his son Robert, who had filled the bathtub and put his pet fish in the tub so he could clean their tank. So after he scrubbed the walls of the tank, he went back to the bathtub to retrieve the fish. He was astonished to find that, though they had the entire tub to swim in, they were huddled in a small area the size of their tank. There was nothing containing them, nothing holding them back. Why wouldn't they dart about freely? They had gotten used to the containment, to the habit of a limited life. A common phrase these days is that we cannot see the ocean we are swimming in. It's often true as well that we do not sense the expanse of life's wonder available to us. Unitarian Universalism has embedded within it the urging to expand beyond assumption. We do not limit belief by creed or dogma. We invite diversity of thought and expression and challenge ourselves to the responsibility of the gesture of creation we have been given. Throughout our history, Unitarianism and Universalism would rise when the limitation of dogma or conformity became apparent and oppressive. It was then that freedom of belief, inherent dignity and worth, and the claiming of justice would stir up. One such time was in the mid-19th century in New England, a new consciousness which came to be known as Transcendentalism challenged the prevailing Christianity, including established Unitarianism. I think it was Emerson that called them stodgy folk. Instead of continuing in the staid renderings of human limitations, there was a call to claim one's authentic self, one's unique witness to the world as it could be, and a quality life in the journey. Transcendentalists rejected the idea of a separate and unreachable God. The idea of immanence came into being, God in us and about us. It was introduced as a kind of naturalist spirituality, one that could be affirmed through experience and personal connection and seen everywhere in nature. Henry David Thoreau also spoke of the principle of wildness in our lives and in the cosmos. Margaret Fuller described a connection to a divine energy pervading nature. And Ralph Waldo Emerson described the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty within us, which is the abiding presence of the Eternal One. What the Transcendentalists spoke of came from the same stream of wisdom that has inspired mystics, philosophies, and folk of wisdom traditions far back, most probably before recorded history, when wisdom was handed down in the stories of the ancients. This, of course, was part of the argument of Transcendentalists, that there is a wisdom, a knowing that pervades all being, which is ours to discover, ours to embrace so that we can live in harmony with the miracle of existence. And what we transcend, according to the Transcendentalists, are the trappings of control, human-created dogma and systems of thought, that little bit of the bathtub that we keep going round and round in. The emphasis was on original thinking, intuitive response that cannot be described or categorized or codified by others. The original response to our lives, which we are invited to live. We share our insights as co-equals on the journey toward understanding, companioning one another through dialogue, reflection, silence, study, and service, toward the evolution of wisdom, the humility of that evolution, and the welcome of epiphany, a transcendent aha, a connection, a presence. I am light, for example. With the understanding of immanence, ongoing revelation that is constantly with us, came the understanding that a faith can expand beyond historical Christian borders at the time. Some Unitarians came to regard the activities of a particular faith and the lessons of religious history merely as metaphors, storylines of a greater mystery that can be expressed in many different ways. Theodore Parker, renowned preacher of the times, offered the shocking idea that that which is permanent, that which is true for all time, transcends any system of thought we have attached to it. Idolatry of the Bible, systems, or any God image keeps us from the breadth of religious truth. Worthy religion, in his mind, brings us to our authentic selves, provides guideposts away from falsehoods and fears, to find the fullness of life in all its majesty, in all its healing, in all its inspiring, peace-creating glory. And bits of wisdom and sacred texts and our own experiences help inform that knowing. Unitarian Universalism is once again intentionally exploring its limitations through the urging of folk traditionally on the margins of society. Hearing those disenfranchised, we are wanting to know more about the sea we are swimming in, primarily through our cultural history within a white-dominant society, a Euro-American culture. We are seeking ways to become more liberative for more people, to stretch our language and assumptions, to find new assumptions, new ground, and God's sense. I think Unitarian Universalists can be a powerful spiritual voice in these times, because it is a faith that abides with transformation, expansion, and innovation. It insists on interdependence. Our hallowed ground has a sacredness about it because of the intentions of those who enter here. It takes participation to come into the presence of the sacred. It takes a choice. It takes courage. It takes love. It takes a mindful connection and a daring of relationship. There's a power to that agreement, to that shared intention, a reverent resonance that echoes the worth of all of our lives. It is within our faith communities that our strength and courage toward wholeness can be found, reasons to hope can be affirmed, new insights and ways of being can enrich our growth in knowledge of the fullness of life. Through our commitment to one another, compassion can be made known as powerful. Love can be realized as healing. Truth can surprise us out of a perspective, and care can lighten our hearts. When we bring our energies to a community that honors interchange, we create an environment we're invited to take time to focus on our sense of self in this world, to speak our wonderings aloud and have them heard, to make friends and weave networks, to create hallowed ground. Each time we listen, we know we can be heard. Each time we call someone to account, we know we can learn from another. Each time we trust and grow from that trust, we know that working together upholds our lives and guides our choices to better ways of being. In this way, we cultivate a generosity of spirit that is wise beyond our knowing. It happens when we choose to cherish each other and the endeavor of our growing lives together. From the Unitarian Universalist Meditation Manual, Voices from the Margins, an affirmation by Reverend Leslie Takahashi. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create. A deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a deeper joy in this life we share. Keep coming together, however you can. Notice the beauty around you and within you. We have it about us to train ourselves in keeping on, keeping on. So may it be. Amen. Let us sing together hymn number 95, There is More Love Somewhere. Please rise as you are able, and we keep our masks on while we sing. And feel free to play while you sing. Harmonize, do whatever you want. Let us join our hearts in the spirit of prayer. And thank you for that hymn. That was beautiful. Holy One, essence that flows in rivers and blood, in breath and wind, somehow in our core of being, somehow in the distant star. Help us feel your presence. Help us know we are a part of it all. Help us see our multicolored light within. In these times when we feel exhausted and despair, irritable and unable to just get up in the morning, help us find that strength within, that hope within, that knowledge of a wisdom to get through, a wisdom of harmony. Help us believe in what we see before us, the beauty and wonder and strength of life. And may we be gentle in our brokenness and bold in our compassion. And we have some local prayers. And I need glasses. One second. Robert Johnson has lifted up, lighting a lights and candle to return a little brightness and warmth to the universe. Dottie and Chris Pitt lift up a celebration for the well-lived life of Chris's uncle, Reverend Louis W.P.H. Jr., who died this week just shy of his 99th birthday. Rest in peace and power. And for all the prayers lifted up but unspoken, may we envelop them in love. Amen.
Give. I think most folks have done it already, but you can simply text to 617-539-7576 with the amount that you'd like to give. Just the amount. You don't have to put any words, and you'll get an automatic text back if it's your first time setting it up. And it's contained and safe and goes directly here to First Parish. If you believe in this church, if you want to support the work that we do here, please give generously to keep us going. Thank you.
let us say our unison dedication together. May these gifts be transformed into strength for this cave community, into comfort, food, and shelter for those in need, and may we be transformed by generosity. Let us sing together hymn number 1057, Go Lift It Up. And we'll go ahead and sing it through twice. It's short, so we're getting to know it pretty well. So the first time, just get used to it, and the second time, have fun with it. Of the month, trusting in a foundation of faith, love, and compassion. May we open to the challenge of the unknown with the assurance of our shared humanity and the guiding wisdom of creation's wonder.